And ladies and gentlemen, how's everybody feeling? This is your man, Mike Hurt. I want to welcome everyone to the man, and I mean the man, because we're talking about the man, talking about the Man Hurt Talk Show. The reason there's been a delay tonight, we did a test drive on this last night, but never fails. You barely use your landline in your house. You test drive it last night, it worked fine with no problem. Had speakers and everything. Out of all days, Comcast, it was an issue with the line somewhere in the area. So they had me on the phone. I said, I got to get on the air. I gave them an opportunity because you pay your bills and you feel like, give them an opportunity to fix it. So tonight I'll be coming off my cell phone and we're going to try to make it work that way. Like I said, I have an agenda tonight. I have my man Derek Lee. I have my man John Matthews. And I have my man Rob Johnson. Those are going to be my guest speakers tonight. We're going to talk about the issues before us tonight. Like I said, I got two segments. One is the definition of being a father. That's going to be in the first segment. And the second segment is going to be how can we as a man, the man and the men, be better queens to the ladies and the females in our lives. All right? So what I'm going to do right now, because when it's a guest speaker, I'm going to give them a call because they already know it's coming. Now for tonight, I say about my last guest speaker is going to speak at 7:45 because we're running a little late tonight, so we're going to go a little later. So by the time that ends, it's going to be like around 8:05. So if you guys want to call like around 8:05 to 8:30, you can call this number for this only time. This is the only time I'm giving out my cell number for this talk show. I have another number that I put up on Facebook for this talk show. So you can call at 856-343-2992. Some of you already know my number from me DJing events and everything like that. So 856-343-2992. And you can call sometime after between 8 and 8:30. Okay. Matter of fact, make it between 8:10 and 8:30 because my speaker is going to speak to 8 o'clock. So give it about 5 minutes. So from 8:05 to 8:30, if you want to call, discuss what we're reviewing tonight, you can do that as well. Right now, I'm going to call my man Derek Lee, and we're going to talk and get down to the issues. Now, some of you guys know who Derek Lee is. He's a comedian, magician, and he has a costume store in Philadelphia. He runs an entertainment service. So if you guys ever want to book him for anything, I'll definitely let him tell you all about himself, and as well as you can contact me if you need more information. Derek, we're live. How you doing, brother? Good, Derek. I want to apologize for the delay tonight. I just told my Facebook followers that Comcast kind of out of all nights had a little kink in their system. It had to be tonight. So I'm coming off my cell phone tonight, so they can hear you still pretty clearly. I have preferred to use the speaker that I had hooked up to the phone. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it do what it do tonight. Derek, we spoke earlier. I told you that the issue and the subject that we're going to be talking about in this first segment is going to be the definition of being a father. Now, Derek, I know you personally, not only from a business standpoint, but I also know you as a friend, and I know that you're a good father, good husband, and all those good things. But with you being a father to two kids, can you first and foremost introduce yourself, let people know what you want them to know, and then you can get into the segment towards the question asked.
They can Google that. You don't pay that much to me.
Okay, good.
Entertainer, magician, speaker in high schools. They can get into that. Let's get right into the question.
Okay. All right, so the question is, Derek, is give me in your version, what is the definition of being a father?
Well, the definition of being a father is we owe a responsibility to our children. See, the problem is now you have a lot of boys that's having babies who never moved out of their mother's house, who never took care of themselves. How are you going to take care of a child if you've never even taken care of yourself? I owe a duty to my children. I owe a responsibility to my children. I told my son a few years ago, you ain't got to like me. I was like, I'm not here to be your friend. I'm here to take care of you as a man, as a father. We don't have a lot of that anymore.
Now,
We don't have people.
now, when you said that line, it refers me back to a movie. Would you refer what movie that came from as well?
Fences. Yes.
Yeah.
Fences. All young boys should try to watch Fences and see that. I told my son, you don't have to like me, but it's my responsibility to take care of you, to provide. You know, the problem is with a lot of young men, they go from their mother's house to a woman's house, and they didn't have a chance to be responsible on their own. So you have a lot of young, I call them ABWs, you got a lot of young angry black women that have a baby by somebody who's not even grown themselves.
Right.
They're not even grown right now. You had his baby. You're a new fool.
Well,
Okay? You're a good one. You're a new fool. You don't even deal with somebody that's still living at home 24, 25. My responsibility is to get my son financially and intellectually on the level to have his own.
well, Derek.
It's not grown until you have your own.
Well, Derek, let me ask you,
Now,
Derek, let me ask you this. With you having all those values towards of your kids, where did you pick up those values from? Did you learn them on the go?
Everything I didn't get, everything I never got from my father, I make sure I flipped it. Everything I saw him do wrong, I flipped it for my children so my children can have all the profanity, all the verbal abuse, all the physical abuse, all the not having, the not knowing. Sometimes the person who showed you the worst path can be the person to help you out and be your inspiration. So I had the inspiration of one of the worst people you ever want to meet. But everything my father was is nothing that I am.
So I take it that, and not to get into your past from a standpoint of your relationship with your father, so I'm taking what you're saying is you took a negative situation at the time you were growing up and you made that a positive towards what you felt like you were going to do for your kids.
You have to. Don't let the bruises that you were dealt with make generational problems. You know, the abuse that I suffered, I wasn't going to have that go on generationally with my children and my children's children. You can mess up your whole bloodline if you don't have the words are really powerful, and you can tear a whole family up. You know, a man's job is to be the backbone of the household. And a lot of times in a lot of communities, we don't have that. We have a lot of men that aren't there. And the men that aren't in the household, your children are suffering trauma. If the man is not in the household, the children are going through trauma. If the man is in the household and they're physically, verbally, or sexually abusive to the children, that's trauma to the children. I know people personally that have had tough childhoods. They take it out on their children.
Well,
Their children's children.
Well,
you have generational angry people.
Well, Derek, let me ask you this. Knowing that you came from a situation when you were young that you felt like it was a negative and you made it in your mind that, you know, the father you were going to be was going to be a positive. Well, when you started to get into that fatherhood situation, how was it in the early going? Did you feel like this was, you know, what I thought? This was harder with what I thought? What was your first impressions when you started to become that young father when you had your first child?
Well, I had my first child, I was 30. So when I was in Lamont's class and I was at kindergarten school, I was one of the oldest people there. I saw a bunch of teenagers in there. So, but I was a little older, so it was good. I wanted to be a father. What man does not want to be a father? What man does not want to see himself in his children? You know, a great thing about me is I love Christmas. So one of the best things I had is everything I was taught, I I made sure I flipped it so I didn't become the abuser that my father was to me.
Well, D, I like what you're saying, but we all know that, especially when I speak about myself and my upbringing, my father wasn't there for me, and I did like how you did towards a feeling like I was going to take the negative of what I didn't get from him, and then I told myself when I had kids one day that I was going to try to be a better man to my kids. But the thing about it is, D, there are men walking the streets that have kids all over the place, and they have single mothers raising these kids, and for the life of me, I just don't get that. So we're talking from a good brother doing our kids, due diligence towards of making sure we're there for them in their life, but their brothers walking the street.
You have to be there. You have to be in your children's life. But if nobody made you responsible for the things that you did wrong, you might not want to do it. See, we have to make men accountable for their responsibility. But in order to be a man, you have to see a man.
Well, why do you think your dad was the way he was, and why do you think the men that are walking the street that are not taking care of their responsibility, what do you think is going through their head?
He probably suffered abuse in his life. All he knew was the profanity. All he knew was to take it off the belt. All he knew was abuse, and I didn't want to be like that. So when I started having children, I wanted to provide them with everything they ever had. I never cursed at a woman. I never raised my voice to a woman. I was always a gentleman. And let me tell you something. You can do that and still not be appreciated. And you still have women that think they can do better than you. So that's why I tell men, just be 100% whole man within yourself. Take care of your children, take care of your responsibility, and make yourself accountable for the children that you put out there. But I tell people all the time, why are you dating somebody at 35 years old that doesn't have his own home, who got 3 kids by 3 different people?
Now, D, stop right there. What you're basically saying to me is that you're putting some of this onus on the women a little bit of the men that they choose, or is that what you're saying to me?
The people that you date say a lot about you. The people that a woman dates says a lot about them, and the people that a guy dates says a lot about them. It says a lot about your personality. When people sit back here and say, he's a loser, he's a loser, he's a loser, he wasn't about anything. Everybody you dated was a loser. Maybe it's you. Maybe you the problem. Maybe you just can't pick them.
Well, Derek, I ain't gonna lie. If you met my dad just on the street or in common conversation, you would think he was a nice guy. So I would like to. I wish that I could say that all bad guys and guys who don't have jobs and everything are the ones who don't take their kids. There are actually guys who, quote unquote, are good guys, have good jobs, and still don't want nothing to do with their kids.
Well, you know something, that right there is when, you got to go to Lana Van Zandt. You got to go to some type of therapy and figure out why you were happy. See, this is why we have so much violence in Philadelphia. I had a couple of city people call me, a couple of newspaper people called me, and they were talking about we're doing the buyback with the guns. We're taking the guns. The guns isn't the problem. It's the people. Okay?
I agree.
It's the people that's the problem. You can take all the guns out of Philadelphia if you want. You have to have the ability of problem solving and to be you don't see, men have got to make other men accountable. So years ago when we were younger, we got into a fight. Everybody lived. Now these guys are so scared to take that ass whooping. Excuse my language.
Okay, brother.
So scared to take that ass whooping, they pull out a gun.
So would you say the majority of male crime that goes over in Philly, especially the shootings, would you say the majority of that comes from broken homes where it's a fatherless home?
I think a lot of it comes from poverty, but a lot of it comes from the majority of theft statistically comes from men. But it's a lot of men that can't provide for their family. So they're stealing for it, or they're hustling for it, or they're doing whatever they can. When I graduated high school, first thing I did was got me a good government job. And I stayed there 17 years, saved my money, bought a business, moved on to do something else. But in the time, and a lot of times with some people, I think black women, they want you to have everything right now. And I love black women too. But they aren't patient. They don't really see the value in certain people until you get it. We are the biggest race of men that marry outside of their race. They say more African American men marry outside of their race more than all the races combined. And a lot of people sit back and they want to hold on a second. A lot of people sit back and want to know why. Please do something about that dog. Lord Jesus in heaven.
I guess he wanted to be the co-host. Let me share this quick story for you. I remember when I was younger and I was dating this female that the father wanted to talk to me. Now, I'm young. He's already established. I'm talking about the father. He was able to provide for his family and everything. But I wasn't there at that point in time. Now, I salute the father for grilling me to be asking me, where was my direction and where do I see myself in 5 years. But the thing about it is that some of us take longer than others. And I think that meant...
That's what the father is supposed to do. But a lot of these young girls don't have the father around. See, if you don't have a father in the household, or a lot of young women don't have a father near them, how do they know the good guy or the bad guy? The father's intuition. But like a mother will tell you her son, if they think back in the day, they never called the girls hoes. They always said, I don't really like her because I think she's fast. Remember the line? My mother don't like her. She said she's fast.
Right.
Girls don't have. People years ago, when I was dating and I was trying to date certain people, a lot of girls didn't give me the time of day. And they like the rough guy. But as time went on, the rough guy that they were dealing with didn't treat them good, didn't have nothing, didn't amount to anything, and now they want to be bothered with you. But you passed on me back in the day, and you still live with your mom. Now you got kids, you don't have anything. Now, a lot of times, you have to have that discernment, and men can challenge other young men to say, this is what you're not going to do to my daughter.
Now,
I was always the gentleman. I have never been out with a woman that had a woman pay.
No, I understand
that. I don't know what that is.
Now, Derek, we got about 2 more minutes, and I'm going to sum it up with giving you this last question for you to ask that's pertaining to the definition of being father. What do you feel as though the expectations are towards of our kids, especially of our boys, towards them being young men and maybe one day being a father? What is our expectations towards them, knowing what kind of father you were to them and obviously me to my son? What is your expectation of your son?
Well, my son, he has a measuring stick with me. So he knows he's always going to have a job. He's going to guide the house, guard the house, govern the house, own his own home. The woman never pays, has to have a career, has to have a job, and he also has to have a plan. You could be working at Walmart, but 6 months from now, what you going to do? I hate to see men complain about their job,
right,
and then the next year, you're still working there. You complain about your job, you're still there. You still live with your mom?
Right.
I'm playing for my son. By the time the age of 25, I want him to own his own home. At the age of, after he graduates to get his trade, see, we have to teach our men how we want them to be. But all the young ladies that's listening to your radio show, a man is going to treat you by what you allow.
So if he doesn't live up to your expectations, are you?
He'll never see my daughter. He'll never see my daughter.
No. I'm talking about your son. If the son doesn't live up to the expectation, what is your mindset?
Oh no. You can only pray and do the best you can.
And see, that's the key. And see, that's the key right there. The prayer.
Put him in the right path.
Because
he got big shoes to fill. My job is to show him the way. It's up to him if he's going to go through that door or not. But I encourage all your female listeners that's listening, a man is going to treat you by what you allow. And if all the men you dated aren't about nothing, take a look in the mirror. They're saying a lot about you.
There you go. Hey, Derek, man, I appreciate you giving a shout out. You know you, my man. We're going to be doing it from week to week because Derek has a lot of good advice. Like I said, he deals with a lot of kids and youth, especially in the city of Philadelphia, and as well as when he does.
And I get a lot of flack whenever I talk about black people.
Right.
People give me a lot of flack whenever whenever I say that these black women don't appreciate
Right.
a good African American brother, they don't.
Well,
You know, I know black men that's been arrested that get treated better than the good brother.
Isn't that something? But D, we're going to try to make a change of that because we are two good brothers, and although we are not perfect, we're trying to do our best. And like I said, we always keep God first, and then keep on striving. Hey, Derek, man, I appreciate you giving us a little minute of your time, and we'll definitely be talking soon.
Well, where can they reach your radio station at?
My radio shit. Put it this way, D. We're gonna be doing this every week, Monday from 6 to 7:30. This week was a little, wrench in the program because of Comcast, but we're gonna work all that out. But we're going to.
And I have to deal with all this flack when this video and people start complaining why you always bashing black men.
Hey, D. If when people have a question on who you are, if they're around you long enough, they know what type of love you give, they know what kind of support you give, and not only that, but you still somebody putting in the work. So D, I appreciate you, man. We'll be talking soon. Okay, brother.
Take care.
You too, bro.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Derek Lay. Like I said, these conversations can get very, very intense because every man is different. They have their own views of how they feel about raising their kid. Not everyone's the same. Sometimes it comes from your upbringing towards of the household you were born in, raised in. And I definitely want to give a big shout out to the mothers, because the mothers were wearing the hats as fathers. When the fathers weren't there, the mothers had to be mothers and fathers. So I don't want to not leave this conversation without giving you mom some props on that. So much love to the mothers, and definitely love for the fathers who've been there from day one. Let's get to the next caller. I had shouted out to my man John Matthews. He's like a father figure. He's like an uncle. He gives me that old school wisdom. So I told him that I was going to hit him up. So let's see if he's available, and we're going to keep this conversation going towards what is the definition of being a father. I hope Mr. Matthews didn't forget about me.
Please leave your message for 2.
Well, we're going to try to hit up John as soon as we can. And maybe because of the schedule that we got into, we're pushing everything back because of the technical difficulties what I had with Comcast. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we're going to end this segment on fatherhood in this way. I became a father at the age of 21. And it wasn't easy. Like I said, I give much love to the mothers who had my father. Now, in a perfect world, I think we will all, feel like, meet girl, fall in love with girl, marry girl, and then plan your kids, 1, 2, 3, whatever. But when you grow up in a certain environment where you didn't see that type of love towards of a man and a woman, and somebody giving you the blueprint of how to be a father, how to be a man, you basically learn it on your own and learn it as you go along. But the thing about it is that if you put God first and you give him his praise, and not only when you do it, but it's amazing when you have family members like Big Mama, your auntie, your sister, your next door neighbor. People don't realize the strength when people pray for you. And I don't take that for granted. So I hope everybody learned something in this first segment of the definition of being a father. Like I said, between time of 8:05 to 8:30, if anybody want to call, the phone number is 856-343-2992, and talk about some of the subjects that we talked about tonight. So at this time, I'm going to move the segment over to how can men and the man in the men be better men to our queens? Now, our queens can be looked upon in a lot of different ways. It can be looked upon as our mothers, our wives. Well, hello, let me take that back. We're not in Africa where you have multiple wives, so let me take that back. Your wife, your sister, your daughter, your grandkids, your niece. How can we be better kings for these queens? So I told my man Rob Johnson that I was going to hit him up, and then we're going to have a discussion about that. And if anybody's ever interested on being a guest speaker, hit me up during the week, and I'll pitch you part of that. I'll give you the topic, and you can mow on it, so when I call, you'll be ready to go. This is Mr. Rob Johnson. Hopefully he is ready. Mr. Johnson, you're on Facebook Live. How you doing, my brother?
Wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
Good, good, good. We had some technical difficulties earlier with Comcast. We couldn't put things out like we wanted to, so we had to make lemonade, brother. And the one thing about us as a people, we make it do what it do because the show's still got to go on. We might be a little late, and probably always, but hopefully we're getting better each and every time we put our foot out there. So, brother, first and foremost, your name's Rob Johnson. Do you want to tell the people who you are or anything? You don't have to. You can keep it right to the subject, but this is an opportunity if you want to put yourself out there.
Rob Johnson, one of Mike's friends. For how many years? I don't even know how many years.
We'll put it this way. As soon as me and Robin became incorporated, and she was part of your family, that's when we became incorporated. So I'm going to say probably about 10, 11 years, something like that.
Yeah, so this conversation here that we're having, Mike and I always have philosophical talks. We think we fixing the world. So here we go.
There you go. Okay, Rob, I talked to you about this subject a little bit earlier, so you at least have an idea of what direction I'm going with you with this. I just told my Facebook people the next segment that I'm talking about is about us as men. You know, how can we be better to our queens and moving mountains and all kinds of things in our life? Because, you know, they always say behind every strong man is a strong woman. And that strong woman don't always have to be the wife, doesn't have to be the mother. It could be any female. It could be Big Mama. So in your version, tell me, what kind of effect does the queens play in your life towards of striving you to be a better man?
I'm gonna start with Mama first. Mama, you just gotta be appreciative. And what I mean by that is my mom's not here no more. I miss my mom. Man, do I miss my mom. There's a lot of us out there who are in my position. But I'm gonna tell you, you gotta be an example. You gotta be an example to you gotta be an example out here to younger females. I'm also talking about nieces. I'm talking about sisters. I'm talking about, even other women out there who you're not even in a relationship with. So I'm going to start that way first, and then I want to go to, if you don't mind, Mike.
Go ahead, brother.
And then I want to talk about the queen. Okay.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that out there for mom and for the nieces and for the sisters. I put that out there. You want to be an example to people out there who you're friends with. I want to be an example. I don't meet the mark all the time. I don't meet it. I mess up every day.
Well, let me ask you something, Rob. Knowing that you're striving to be a better man for the queens in your life, and I liked how you started off with the love that for your mom, and knowing that you wanted to make her proud, and the love that she endured in you. And my condolences, because I always know that when you lose a loved one, that we can always feel like, time goes on, but that thing is still with you, but at the same time, they're still with you. So,
Right.
going off of what you just told me, I just want to know where you at in your life right now. Um, what gives you that extra when you run into the females of who you're around today to make you feel like, you know what, this right here is what makes it all work. This is what makes everything go around and around. Who what does that female in your life do for you that makes you feel that way?
Right, that's really good. Let me tell you. So before, there used to be a dating time, and dating is collecting data. Dating is collecting data, and then once you got that data, you got a choice to do what you want with that data.
Now,
Okay?
Rob, hold it right there. I'm glad that you said that. You said dating. So basically, what you're saying to me is that I don't want to make it too like cold. So you're saying that when you were dating, that was the opportunity for you to see that the woman that might be the possible woman that's going to be your wife, you want to see what she's made of. Is that what you're trying to say?
But that's not it.
Well, that's
You want to know,
well, that's what I'm asking. I didn't know if that's where you were leading to.
right? You know what you know, and you get to make a decision, and indecision is a decision. So that's where you're at.
But when you're dating them, what is it that you're looking for?
You're looking to see the best possible match for you. Someone who thinks like you, not so much think like you, someone you can work with, someone that you want to, that you would give your left arm for, someone that you appreciate, someone that you're going to love for the rest of your life.
Well. Let me ask you this: do you feel like she has to cartel to the way you are, or is it the other way around? Do you feel like you're moving mountains for that person, or she's got to move mountains for you?
It's a give and take, Mike. It's a give and take.
Okay.
And there's no weights on it neither. There's no weights on that. You gotta listen. You gotta be supportive, and you can't be right all the time. Sometimes it's okay to take a L.
But I think what I'm trying to ask, Rob, is that what separates that one from the others? Is it a feeling? Is it something that's on a resume? What separates that?
So you're out, Mike. I can't hear you at all.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No, I didn't hear that.
Are you walking away, or have you moved from?
No, I'm sitting right at my desk. Let me just say it again.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. I hear you perfect.
Okay, what I'm saying to you is that you just laid it out what type does it for you. But when I'm saying that there's a lot of good women out there that have a lot of qualities to them. But when I'm saying when it comes to Rob Johnson, is it a feeling? Is it something that the boxes are checked? What kind of thing does it? What did it for you?
It's the heart. It's the heart.
Okay.
And sometimes the boxes are checked. Yeah, a lot of folks probably won't say that, but the boxes are checked. It's the heart.
There's nothing wrong with being real with, checking. I think we all have boxes. I mean, if you don't have boxes that has to be checked, I mean, you wouldn't be true to you. I mean, if a woman is not clean and you act like she is, and then that's on your problem because you've seen the signs right there. I mean, so there's certain things about an individual that, yeah, those boxes have to be checked, before even walking through the door.
For me, I need, this has to be something that complement, I'm success driven. I need somebody who's success driven. I like certain things a certain way, and I need a person who can kind of meet those certain ways,
Right.
Somebody that's going to be supportive.
I could do that.
That makes me want to support them also, It's a respect issue also, Mike.
No, brother. I'm hearing what you're saying. I think what it is that.
Guess what? And together, there's a fall in love process. You know, you want to see that person. You want to see that person 24/7.
So you're an old romantic, Rob.
Say it again.
I said you're an old school romantic.
Come on, yeah.
Hey, brother, ain't nothing wrong with that. A lot of women like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think where I'm trying to get at is that, you know, knowing that the ratio of women to men, I mean, even me and Robin was talking about this last night. The number she gave was 50 million to 1. I said, that's a hell of a ratio. And she made a comment to saying to me that, you know, there's a little issue when it comes to us as black men. And with it, that being an issue with us, I'm trying to look at myself in the mirror and say, you know, is that something in us? Is it something that's, you know, because I see, you know, my partner doing it? What is it about us black men that we get this bad rap?
That's a good question.
I mean, I mean, you don't have to answer it. I just think that that's the origin of where it starts at, because it's a give and take. We don't want to feel like we're giving the love and then not receiving it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like you said, it's got to be an evenly yoked feeling, but at the same time, there's things that some people are not as strong in than others. I'm talking about where, you know, Teddy Pendergrass had that song where he said, "I'm giving 70, and you giving 30, and you know, I'm giving 60, you giving 40." You know, whatever adds up to 100, and both parties are okay with that. Who are me or you to say anything different, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So Rob, knowing that you explained to me about how you feel about you being a better king to the queens, how do you feel about the brothers out there today doing their job? Are you disappointed on what you see out there from your fellow brothers?
So I'm never going to sit here and put somebody else's way down, but I'm going to say this. As I said, I'm new to marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And
now say that, Rob, say that one more time so everybody can hear that.
I'm new to marriage.
Okay, so when you say that, what are you trying to say when you learn it as you go along, or what are you saying when you say that?
I'm learning as I'm going along, and my ears are open. Whenever I hear an old school guy talks or somebody who's been at this longer than I have, you know, I'm listening.
So
my ears are open.
So you're being objective towards what you feel. You don't have your feet in the ground saying that it's this way or the highway.
So, you know what? The one thing I do is my wife and I laugh a lot, and for some reason that seems to be one of our winning formulas. And we shoot pool.
Okay.
I mean, we have a pool in our house, and our date nights, what we joke about, I tell everybody I'm the cheapest date in town. And that's the biggest joke in my relationship. You know, let's go down there and do pool. That's our date night, you know.
Oh, okay.
And that's what we do. It's to the point now where she beats me a lot of times. But more than anything, you know, I feel like men today need to, when they say they're going to do something, they need to do it, you know. And I feel like that's the weakness of men today. A lot of men are dreamers. And women today, they want to see some action to those dreams. Instead of just talking about it or always talking big. You know, back up and support that, you know. Get up and do something. Can you do it tomorrow? Whatever you're dreaming about, what are you doing about it tomorrow? And that's the way Rob Johnson thinks. When I think of something, can I do it tomorrow? I'm gonna start working on it tomorrow.
So Rob, what you're saying is that when you speak about other men, and us speaking about other men is not breaking the man code, because we're not trying to bash anybody. This is all about love. I told you this is about us uplifting each other, not to put each other down. So what you're basically saying is that, brother, if you got a dream, do it. Put it out there. If you can see it, make it happen. I think that when I see some of us that might not be as forward as others, sometimes it's just lack of not having certain people around us that would be able to school us, because there are people, when I say people, I mean brothers around each other that, if you got good news, share it. If you got good news, share it. I just think that we could be better with that. I think we can be better with that, because I think that when it comes to the history of us as black men, back in the day, they would take the strongest and the smartest, and they would do everything they could to, say, if I can do this to this one, imagine what I can do to you. And I think that mentally and spiritually, I think that some of us are still dealing with that, and we don't realize that that thing is in us. But like I said, we're going to keep hope alive. We're going to keep loving each other, and then there's enough for everybody at the table.
That's right.
Right.
So I think one thing is, women aren't, I think, especially who are in relationships, who have been in relationships for a while, they don't want to be in a situation where they're in the same place as when they first got married. What are we building together? What are we doing together? And I think that's something that maybe they won't say it, but I think that's one of those things that kind of, make a woman think, there's a lot of things. As I said, I'm new to this marriage thing, but I love it. One of the greatest decision ever made.
Hey, Rob, how many years you got in, bro?
6 years.
Go ahead, brother. Hey, that's a lot than a lot of people can say, brother. And that's a testimony to what you have going on. And Tony's a beautiful woman. And I know you guys are doing it.
Let me tell you, sometimes, brothers, just listen. You don't have to
I know.
Just listen.
Just listen. Just listen.
I guess what else I just thought about, too. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Hey, Rob, man, I greatly appreciate you giving the time and day. I know when we talked earlier, because we always talk, but it's a different when we're talking in front of people out there in the world towards of our feelings, and sometimes that could be a little intimidating, because it's one thing when you're doing in the intimacy of one-on-one compared to not being afraid to share your good news. I'm gonna go back to that good news to others, because that good news can help others be better in what they're doing or striving to where they want to be. So, Rob, you have anything else you want to say before we cut it loose? Because, like I said, I don't want to hold you up. I greatly appreciate you, and we're going to try to do this every week, every Monday from 6 to 7:30, and we're going to talk issues, man, and I'm focusing on trying to make men better men towards the man in them. And then I think that will benefit the females in our lives and the females that are around us. Like I said, it's not just about your wife, your mother, your daughter. It's about any female that touches you in your world and make you who you are. It needs to be saluted.
Thanks for this platform, Mike.
I appreciate it, Rob. We'll definitely talk.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother.
All right.
Bye-bye. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, everybody's got their different views of how they see their self in the mirror and how they see their mate towards of loving them and being with them. And like I said, the question I asked Rob Johnson was him as a king, what could he do to make himself better for the queens in his life? And he made it very clear towards the respect part, being nice, listening. That was something he shared towards of listening. And like I said, these are little things that we all can use in our lives to make us better as human beings. And like I said, especially with black men, where we struggle towards the communication. And because I used to have a men's club, a group. And I was actually shocked and surprised towards some of the stories I heard. Before I go any further in that, the lines are open if someone wants to call and talk about some of the things that we talked about. The phone number is 856-343-2992. That's 856-343-2992. And I'm encouraging women as well. I don't want to make it seem like I'm just dominated with the men stuff. It's always going to be about the man because we're the ones that have let you women down towards trying to be better. You women, I'm not saying you don't have issues, but I know that if we're better, it can help you be better as well. So going back to what I was saying is that when I was in this men's group and I brought these brothers together, I was kind of shocked with some of the stories I heard, and I'm not going to get into details because there is a man code that I'm not going to, divulge stories and things that were being done in the men's club. But what I will say to you, it let me know how different we all are. And the beautiful thing that I noticed was when you have men in the room that let's say it's 10 men, and you guys can have a difference of opinions. But the beautiful thing is like what Rob was saying towards what we do with you females, is that it's a nice thing to listen. I try to use it in a metaphorical way, like if you remember the movie Friday. And although we're not trying to pass the weed, but there was a term in there that made sense, where it was like puff, puff, pass. That means towards, from a metaphorical standpoint, that, say what you have to say. Let your voice be heard. But then at the same time, once you make your voice be heard, now you got to zip it so you can allow that person an opportunity to speak towards what you just spoke about, or if they feel like they have something on their mind. And that was the beautiful thing that came out of the men's group, that we all respected each other and we felt comfortable of being around each other towards of us feeling like we can speak. Now in this forum that I'm creating, you might say, well, Mike, maybe a brother or two or a female or two might not want to get into anything in detail because others are listening. And I will agree with you with that, because you might feel like, there's just certain things that are intimate and you don't want the world to know. But there's a lot of good news that you do have that would be helpful to others. And I think that part is an important part. Matter of fact, I'm going to call my wife up and I'm going to ask her, when it comes to men of today, she was reverting a little bit of that yesterday, and I taped a little bit of it yesterday when we were going through the sound check and everything, to where she was telling me it's like 50 million to 1, although we know it's not that type of ratio, but I get where she was coming from. So I'm going to give her a call and let her finish that statement that she was making, because I had asked her the question about, are you in the rehab business? And I think she made it very clear she wasn't. So I'm going to let her follow up on that statement. So let's see if she remember. Now we're you heard her last night. She was running it. Mademoiselle, you're live on Facebook Live. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the lovely Robin, my wife. If you looked at the blooper reel from last night, she was talking a storm up. She was talking about all you single women go to the men's warehouse. They're giving away men with a suit. You can get a man with a suit. So, Robin, I'm going to let you finish what you were saying when I asked you the question towards of, Are women into the rehab business when it comes to men? You want to follow up on that?
The rehab business.
Yeah, well, does a woman feel like when she meets a man that she feels that she has to rehab him to make him a man? Is that
Well,
what?
there are some like that, and it's a shame, but there are older men that you would think were more mature in that sense, where they don't have to. But there's a lot of immature men out there. You know, for example, I have friends that are online. You know, meeting these guys online. They have a good conversation. They send them, you know, they exchange phone numbers, and then they send pictures of their private area.
Whoa. Okay.
You know what I mean? That's like,
So,
what is that? Like, what was the reason for that?
now, what you're saying to me is that in this social media world that we live in, you're saying that people tend to show one side of them, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you see another side. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
They talk a good game on the phone, but when it comes to, I guess, meeting in person and not texting, actually talking on the phone, they're like totally different.
No, I can agree with you with that when it comes to men, but I think that goes as well as women. I mean, I think it works in a both kind of way, because what you put out, you can easily get back, and if you're not putting that out, it might not come back in that way. A perfect example is that back in the day, when a couple of my friends, we would go up to the Greek, up into the plateau during Greek weekend, and you would see some women, dressing very provocative, and and I think a woman has the choice to dress the way she wants to, but at the same time, if she dresses too provocative to the point of knowing the type of attention she's going to get, that might send off the wrong signals to somebody who might take that in the wrong way.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So I went there because, conversation can go that way. Looks can go that way. If a woman comes off thirsty, if a man comes off thirsty, it's so many different signs that people give that can give off a bad sign. Then all of a sudden, like you were saying, all of a sudden body parts are being shown on text messages and this and this and that. But at the same time, it takes two.
Right. But the girls, I'm talking about a good girl. So.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not. Well, the thing about it is I'm glad you said good girls. What, in your definition, what is a good girl? Because I mean, you're putting it out there very like it's like a piece of candy, and that's the real milk chocolate, and good sugar. Good.
They have everything going on in their life that is good. They're respectable. You know what I mean? All they're trying to do is they got this online is meet somebody. So they're not talking sexual stuff or anything like that. But for them to just go on and do that, pull it out and take better pictures, there's a problem with them.
Now,
listen, men don't have to do that to women because they're, they're provocative towards them.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, because you make it feel so bland, like the guy meets a girl, all of a sudden the next message, he's showing his penis at the next picture. I mean...
Listen, I'm just saying,
but what I'm saying is that was there any type of conversation that led up to that? and he probably was just the first one to do it.
No.
Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like it wasn't like it was sexual talking or nothing like that.
No, I get that part, but the only thing I'm saying is that it takes two. A woman can hang up the phone. She can go the other way.
Of course that happens.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about in the process, you know, you're texting and everything, then you decide, okay, well, let's exchange phone numbers and let's talk. And then you're going to do that. Come on now.
Well,
I'm not going to say that's in every situation. I'm not saying it's in every situation.
Well, let me ask you this. When it, first and foremost, is there any good guys out there? Do you feel like there's any good guys out there?
Yeah, I'm married one.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Do you know what a bad guy looks like?
No.
Okay, then.
I mean, it's not. I don't think it has nothing to do with the way they look.
No. I was just asking a question. I wasn't trying to have you give me a one-word answer towards us saying that, what a bad guy looks like. But what I'm trying to say to you is that you don't know. You don't know until I mean, it doesn't have a look. It doesn't even, the resume can even look good. Basically,
right. You don't know until you're in that position to get to know them.
No, I agree with you with that. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm gonna use the term "lost and turned out," and the reason I'm using that term of "lost and turned out," there are people, women and females, that have been in relationships that it might have been a little bit more aggressive than their past relationship.
Right.
And then for some reason, if that relationship breaks up, the next relationship that person might be in, their expectations might be a little higher than that person because they might have not been used to being in those type of relationships. Some people like that fire. They like that, that spontaneous. Now, I'll put it this way. If you were to ask your girlfriends, obviously behind closed doors, what's your freak level? You might be surprised on how some of them freak level is, and you'd be like, oh my God, I would have never known that. But that freak level is not going to be shown to you. That freak level could be shown to the person that they're dealing with, because that's what does it for them. That doesn't make them bad, but that's where their freak level is at. Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah, but come on now.
No, I understand what you...
Put it this way. The ones that are like, a lot of the behind closed doors are the ones that I know, that I know. I can't say for everybody. Are the ones that, okay, they are like that towards the person that they're going to be with.
No,
There's girls that are like that, period, and they're like that with whoever.
No, I get it. What I'm trying to say to you is that it's not everything is for everybody. Like Jill Scott had that song where she was saying two guys had the same cologne on. It smelled good on one, but it stank on the other.
Right.
So what I can do to you, you might not feel comfortable if somebody else does that to you. You know what I'm saying? But it could be the same action that's taking place. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I think that works in both levels. I think that we as American, and when I say we as American, although we've all been imported over here, so, who's really American if you're not a native Indian? I mean, I heard I have a little bit in there, but I also need to see the paperwork. So I think all of us black folks always say we have Indian in us.
I know I do, but I'm still born in America.
Oh, okay. So you might be more of a true American than I am. So what I'm saying to you is that some people look at the body and they're not as hung up on it as some other people are. Now, when you huh?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, what I'm saying is that when you get hung up with it, what I mean by that is that now there's always a line of respect. You want to show respect to the person you're with and this and all that. I mean, don't just do something and nobody gave you no signals to do this and doing that. But all I'm saying to you is that it's like Baskin Robbins. It's all different type of flavor out there, and you just have to be patient, be in a certain circle to.
Well, let me ask you. I'm sorry for what you said. What about the men who want all the flavors?
So you want me to give you?
I'm just saying.
Hold up.
They're all different flavors, but there are men out there who can't be committed because they want all the flavors.
They got all the flavors. The only thing
they want all the flavors.
Oh, they want all the flavor. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing I could say to that is that, and this is just coming from me because, like I said, if you spoke to a bunch of men, they might have a different way of looking at it. This is the only way I can say to that is that every man knows what does it for them, and you're hoping that the woman that he's with does it for him. I give you a perfect example. You remember the movie Tyler Perry? I don't know if it was Why Did I Get Married 1 or 2. I don't know which one.
Yeah.
But one of the brothers said to the other brother, you know, you're going to give up your 80 for a 20.
Right.
Or for a 20. So you might have some men that want to feel 100% complete in that way. You might have some men that feel like, you know, I'm good with my 50. I'm good with my 60. I'm good with my 70. You know what I mean? So all I'm just saying is to you is that everybody is different. I think the problem is not so much the person. I think the problem is once you recognize that you have that, then I think that it's up to you if you want to continue to be in that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But also, he wanted his 20, but then he didn't want it anymore. He wanted his 80 back.
Well, once again, that 80 can say, you know what? I'm not putting up with that. I don't deserve this. But if she accepts him back, then what is it to say about that woman?
No, I'm not saying that she does. I was just saying, like, they want their 80 back.
Well, you know, that works. That works in both ways too. I'm not saying that.
Oh, I know.
No. I know what you're saying. I just think what it is that, you know, I think the perfect example to answer that is that sometimes you have to check somebody out when you're not the subject.
True that.
I think that if you can be around somebody when you're not the subject, then I think you can get a little bit better idea of who that person is.
That's the truth.
You know what I mean? And because there is no one word answer to give you a why this and why that. It's not. You know what I mean? You might wake up one morning and you just might feel like you're not in love anymore. You might feel like you don't want to be touched. No, I'm not talking about you per se. I'm talking about people. People are funny. People are funny. People have 10 million reasons and rhymes of why they do what they do. This is why I love that song by George Duke. No rhyme, no reason. You know, we always want to put two and two together of the reason why this happened. We want to feel like it's a ripple effect. This happened because this, and this, and that. We don't know. We don't know. You know, I think the only way you can deal with that is that once you do know, now it's up to you to do what you're going to do with it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all I can say is that if a person is in a relationship with someone and they feel like infidelity is going on, then don't hold it in. Speak it. Speak it. Speak
But
it.
then you speak it, then they say that you're insecure.
Okay. Well,
You know what's happening? Oh, why are you so insecure?
well, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because yeah, that I'm not going to lie. That's in the player's handbook. That's in the player's handbook. I mean, you're not saying anything that's not true. That's in the player handbook. Like, what are you talking about? You're losing. You crazy. You're insecure. It's in the player's handbook. So I'm not going to sit up here and deny that it's not in the handbook because it is in the handbook. What I'm saying to you, once again, you need to check somebody out when you're not the subject.
You're right.
And I think that when you do that, that doesn't mean follow them around. Don't mean check a cell phone. I'm not talking stalking crazy like that. But what I'm saying is that, now listen to me when I say this. And I'm not just talking to you, babe. I'm talking in general. If people are married or they together or in a relationship, communication. If I say that you're not being affectionate, or I'm not getting enough affection, or you're not talking to me, or you're this and this, and sometimes it might not even be expressed in that way. It could just be body language. And if you ignore that on both ends, then you too are doing each other a disservice. It's not one person's fault, it's both of yours fault.
Right.
So, like I said, once it gets to the point where people are going at it, it's over anyway. That's really think about it. I mean, I think people just want to say it, tell me, say it. They just want that closure. I understand it. It's like, just kill me, get it over with. I mean, they want so they can leave and saying, why did y'all break up? And then it's going to be like, because this happened.
Right.
But you would hate to walk away from a relationship and not feel like you didn't do your part.
Right.
Did you do everything that you were supposed to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, babe, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes, and I got to check some of the messages and see what the people want. So is there anything else you want to say before I'm glad you brought you on as a guest speaker? Because John was supposed to come on, but he must got tied up, and it's more my fault because I gave him a time frame, and knowing that I had the issue with Comcast set things back. So I'm not going to put that on him. But you got 2 minutes to say something to the world. What would you like to say?
I just want to say there are good men out there. And my thing is seek God first. Wait for him. That's all I can say.
Okay.
But babe, you're doing a great job. I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate it. Like I said, babe, I'm going to try to keep this going every week. Hopefully next week I'll be on time, but what black person wouldn't be black if they didn't start things off late? And I hate to say that. I really do. But it was out of my control. And you don't believe, there's a reason why I did a test drive last night. So it wouldn't be no error, but this was out of my control. It was a Comcast. I don't know if it was a line or something in the area that just threw the phone lines out. So I had to have a backup plan, and I'm glad I went into the backup plan to make it work. But babe, I appreciate you getting on the air, and I'm going to check these messages and see what other people have to say.
Okay, I want Andy Brown on next week. Give her point of view.
Well, I think she had a message, so I'm going to see what she says, Ms. Brown.
And my niece and Quetta.
Okay, I'm gonna check the message board and see what the people have to say. All right, babe, thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, bye-bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, this is an opportunity if you want to give me a call at 856-343-2992. I know I put another number out there. That's when I thought my phone line was going to work, but that's still going to be a good number once Comcast fixed that problem. But I had to use my cell phone tonight. So if you want to get on tonight, like I said, it's 856-343-2992, and then we can talk. So in the meantime, between time, I'm gonna check some of your messages out. Angie, cousin, what's going on? Angie says dating world sucks. Well, Angie, is it where you're trying to find a date at? I hate to see that it sucks like that. I mean, that seemed like you put some passion behind it. I dated outside my race as long as it's not Bin Laden. Is it that scary out there, women? Okay, here we go. Here we go. Many men are married looking to play. Most men had bad past experience. True. I mean, that works in both ways towards of men and females. So it's not just, females. I mean, like I said, women deal with the same thing. Sometimes they bring their past into play towards of when it comes to relationships and all that. Quetta, how you doing, Mama? I hope everything's all well. This was good. I like it. How you doing, Mother? Very nice. Yes. What's up, Benson? I see you. Hey, Benson, one of these weeks I'm going to have you on as a guest speaker because, like I said, I'm trying to get as many brothers as I can to speak their piece. And then, like I said, if there's any topics that people want to talk about, we can talk about, bring it to the table, and have a conversation. This is not a thing of trying to break the man code. This is all about uplifting each other, trying to make each other better. And then if there's things that we feel like we have to get off our chest, this is an opportunity that I hope we can do this every week, every Monday between 6 and 7:30. Rochelle, what's going on? I appreciate it. Like I said, it's one of those things where we're trying to get in. What's up, cuz? Brian, I see you. Jackie, what's going on? I mean, like I said, we're going to try to keep this thing going, and we're going to keep it strong and everything like that. Now, I'm going to give you guys 5 more minutes. If I don't get a call, then I'm going to wrap it up because I know sometimes you guys don't mind talking one-on-one, and you rather, you don't like talking in settings like this. You rather talk one-on-one or in a small group. So I totally get that. But like I said, if you guys have any questions or things that you would like me to bring to the table for next week or in the following weeks, definitely inbox me, let me know. And I promise I'm going to do everything to start everything on time next Monday. It's a work in progress. So hopefully we got this lateness out of the way. Connie, what's up, sweetheart? I hope everything's well. Everything's going. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna end this by giving my statement towards of the definition of being a father, and then the second segment towards of how can I, as a man, be better towards the queens in my life. First and foremost, me as a man, when it comes to being the definition of a father. Oh, first and foremost, Cheryl, how you doing, Cheryl? I was going through and I seen different ones. Cheryl Adams, how are you? When it comes to the definition of a father, I'm not perfect. A lot of men that I know, I don't think nobody's perfect. But the thing about it is that when you see kindness in your life, and you opportunity to see love in your life, and you feel love in your life, I hope that does something to you from a standpoint of saying, I like that feeling. I like when somebody loves me. I like when somebody cares about me, because hopefully it's something that you can give back to others. And I think that when it comes to fatherhood and being a father, it's like, we want good kids. And how for that to be, it doesn't happen because you just say it. It's because you do it. You put in the work to try to make them good kids. Now, sometimes it doesn't always work out that way, but you try to do the things to make them good kids. And with prayer, hopefully it becomes that. But it's not a guarantee, but that's all you can do. The second segment towards of how, as me as a man, can be better towards my queens in my life. I think what I just told my wife, I think that the best compliment that I can give her is that her watching me, her seeing what I do every day. And and if she's really seeing it, she can see that I'm putting the work in, I'm putting the time in, and I'm not perfect, and things are not perfect, but that's all you can do. That's all you can do. And I keep God in my life, and I try to do the right thing. I'm not always perfect, but I also know that I don't like hurting people either, and I don't like people hurting me. So when you put all that into a bowl in a jar, um, it's work in progress. And that's all you can. Don't beat yourself up in thinking that I got to find the perfect man, I got to find the perfect woman. It's work in progress. And you just hope that when you plant those seeds and that flower grows, it grows good. Okay? I'm going to leave you on my intro song because it's a song that I just feel like every time I hear, it feels like the beginning of my talk show, the beginning of my morning. It just is like a nice, beautiful opening. I'm going to give you guys shout outs from time to time for everybody who inboxed and everything like that. And like I said, we're going to do this next Monday, 6 to 7:30. I gave you guys my cell phone number tonight. Don't use it next week. Don't use it next week. I will have the other number ready to go. God bless you all. See you on the flip side. Love you. Peace.